Welcome to Unified Champion Spotlight. My name is Craig Tornquist, and I have the wonderful honor of interviewing the stars of the inclusion revolution. And today, we're going to talk to two young ladies whose middle school made history back in 2016, and they continue to do so. I'll tell you why in just a minute, but before we do, I would like to introduce you to these lovely ladies. We're going to start with the one that I've known the longest. Her name is Kim Kilmer, and Kim is the very proud athletic director at Lowell Middle School, which is way up in the northwest corner of Indiana. And Kim, you've been, this is your 11th year as athletic director, is that right?
11th year, yes.
11 glorious years with no issues whatsoever. Excellent. And you're also a 7th and 8th grade language arts teacher, and in your 21st year of doing that, is that right?
Correct. Just 7th grade right now. Started in 8th grade and moved to 7th, but 21st year.
Excellent. Very good. That's awesome. And we're going to talk about Lowell Middle School specifically here in a moment, but I want people to recognize the other young lady that's with us. Her name is Cheryl English. Hello, Cheryl.
Hi.
And this is your 12th year of teaching special education. Is that right, Cheryl?
Yes.
And you've taught it at the elementary level, you've taught it at the preschool level, and you've been at Lowell Middle School. This is your 5th year teaching at Lowell, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Good. I've got your file, and everything is correct and accurate so far. And I also said that you're married to a stud named Mike. Is that true? Good. Excellent.
That is true.
And you have 2 children. Emma is in the 5th grade and Ethan is in the 8th grade. Or no, he's 8 years old in the 2nd grade, right?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, that's true.
All right. Well, we'll just give them a little context to the professional and personal side of your life. But we're really here today to talk about something that Lowell Middle School has done that no other school in the state of Indiana ever did before you. You were the first middle school in the state of Indiana to earn the banner as a Champions Together in the Middle school. We had high schools doing this. And Kim, I believe it was you that said, why are we not doing this at the middle school level? I want to go back to the beginning, Kim,
Sure.
with you. And so can you tell me how you first heard about Champions Together, and approximately when was that?
Okay, so that was probably the fall of 2016, because I think that was our first year that we completed our requirements and earned the banner. I'm pretty fortunate to have a wonderful high school athletic director who works very closely with me. Sometimes that alignment doesn't always happen in all school corporations. And our high school, and my athletic director, Patty McCormick, was already heavily involved with Champions. And she, along with my husband, Keith Kilmer, an assistant athletic director over there, pretty much said, brought the program to me and said, we need to do this at the lower levels. And so that's how I was first introduced to the program, and quickly got very interested, very excited. It was a daunting task at first to even think how I could figure out how to make this happen while I was teaching full time. And that's kind of where this idea for this junior leadership of an L club per se, a group of athletic leaders, was kind of born. And once I got that ball rolling a bit, Lee Lonzo came out and spoke to our kids that we inducted into this leadership group, and it really just took off from there. Our kids were fired up, passionate about it, and ran with it.
Why did you think this would be a good fit for the middle school? Because the people that really started this didn't have middle schools in mind at all at the beginning of Champions Together. So what about it made you think, you know what, no, this could absolutely work at the middle school level?
Well, I think, again, for us, we maybe are spoiled with this entire initiative, or lucky is even a better word. Our kids were already doing so much within our high school program, or under that umbrella. Our high schoolers and that high school athletic department had community events like Track or Treat. They had community events like our Special Olympics basketball game, where we shut down our facilities and we had, you know, a community-wide basketball game for our special needs students. And our kids were already going to those events. They were already excited about that. And we also are fortunate that we house our life skills kids in our building. I'm lucky. I have Cheryl with me every day. We get to see her kids every day. Not a lot of other schools, at least in my conference, have that framework already set up. So when thinking about this, our kids were already excited. Many of my athletes were already working in Cheryl's class as peer mentors. So they were really side by side with her students. And it just made sense. Why not filter it down to the middle school? This is where all kids are learning how to be kind and how to be inclusive and how to build friendships and relationships. And it just seemed like a natural fit to get our kids on board with Champions Together.
Well, Cheryl, that's a perfect transition into your involvement here. I want to bring you up here. So there we go. This is about the time that you started working at Lowell Middle School, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you just come on board, and as a special education teacher, were you immediately excited about this concept, or did you have some concerns about it?
I was excited when Kim came to me. She approached me about this, and she asked if I would help with the program, you know, how I felt about that, if I thought it would work, and if I had some students. And I loved the idea. I mean, I have the peer tutors that would come in here, and I would see how my kids would be like talking with them. I would have the cheerleaders, the football players, the basketball players. They would ask them, they would come in, oh, you got a game tonight? The football players would come in. Oh, you know, they were all excited asking questions to the football players. And the next day, how'd you do? And I could just see how much they liked that. And I was like, how exciting would that be that they can go and then play that game with them that night? And then the next day, when they do the announcements, they heard their names on the announcement.
Yeah.
So like, it was just so exciting to see like how they could hear about how, you know, they scored that touchdown or they made a basket, just like when they announced other players that made touchdowns and baskets, and the cheerleaders that did an outstanding job. So like, it was just so amazing to see how they had that connection and how it was brought here.
So they went from being fans to being actually teammates.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. What did the peer tutors do? What was their job?
So the peer tutors will come in, they come in for a class, and we're on a rotating schedule, so it's not every day. And they come in and they help the kids with their classwork. So if they're struggling with something, they'll just come in, try to help them. They don't give the answers to them, but they'll help them, show them how to find their answers. They're also here to build relationships, just talk with them. If they're having a hard day, they come in and ask them what's going on. Sometimes they can get the kids out of a bad mood that we've been trying for hours to do that we can't get them out of. I mean, they build relationships with them, friendships. I mean, they're here to be friends and just to help them learn, just like we're here to help them learn.
So how long is that peer tutor relationship? Is this a commitment those students make for a semester? Is it for the entire
year.
school year? Okay, so they really do build relationships. It isn't just a one and done type of thing.
No, and most of the time, the peer tutors that sign up for 7th grade, they generally do it for 8th grade too.
Very good, very good. Kim, I want to go back to something that you mentioned a moment ago. You were talking about the Junior L Club, and one thing that Champions Together in the Middle does share in common, well, many things, but one of the things that it absolutely does with Champions Together at the high school level is it really is designed to be student-led.
Yes.
Can you explain to me what the Junior L Club is and what role those student leaders have played in really implementing Champions Together in the Middle at Lowell?
Sure. So like I said, I needed to find a way to make this happen at the middle school. And being the athletic director, I was already working, you know, a lot, very closely, and using a lot of my time to work with athletes. And I also wanted to develop a character education program within my athletic program. like most middle schoolers, we deal with kids who bully one another. We deal with kids who are unkind at times. We're trying to foster and build leaders in the classroom and on the court. So that has always been a goal for me, is to help develop some kind of a real, true character education program. And when Champions came along, I thought this is my time to have coaches nominate student athletes who they felt possessed leadership skills or could, with some help, grow into a leader. And so that's how that group was born. And when we introduced Champions together to them, we just felt that that was a great natural fit, and that they could take that program and run with it and make it theirs. And that's exactly what they did. So Lee Lonzo, Patty McCormick, Keith Kilmer, myself, we introduced those pillars to our kids, and we basically said, okay, this is yours to run with. And they really did drive that program, work with Cheryl and her kids to make sure we fulfilled those things at Lowell Middle School. I always said to my kids, my athletes, and to all of our people here at the middle school, our athletes get so much from athletics. Sometimes they forget how much they get. And so now it's time for them to realize that they have to give back. And our ultimate goal is to really make them better people, to really help make them better citizens of our school and of our community. And what better way to do that than through Champions?
And how many students are currently on the Junior L Club, or in an average year, what is that number?
In an average year, that's probably about 30, 35, sometimes even up to 40. So I ask each coach to nominate two players, two athletes, maybe even an alternate for each sport, each level. And then Cheryl will bring along some of her kids and nominate some of her kids to be a part of our team as well. Honestly, we're a little behind the gun this year with COVID. We're getting started. We did graduate a lot of kids. So I have probably 9 right now that are still in it. And we're in the process of inducting new members. So,
and you just illustrated right there. I mean, it's supposed to be inclusive student leadership. And we talk a lot about, there's a difference between doing something for someone and doing something with someone. And for someone is nice, with someone empowers them. And it really changes the way they look at themselves and the rest of the world. Yeah,
and I think with the anniversary banner, and correct me if I'm wrong, Craig, but I think with that tier came that additional requirement.
Yeah, that expectation. Yeah.
Yeah, we always wanted to include our life skills kids, but it was like, now, hey, if you want to step up and get to this tier, you need those kids as members, not just in and out. And so we really tried to work through that last year. And we had, I don't know, Cheryl, what do you I think it was like 4 or 5 members from her class who were core members on our L Club.
And you have conveniently hung the 50th anniversary banner over your head, which we appreciate. That's an excellent visual aid.
Those are other ones. Sorry, that's a little hard to see.
It looks great.
Yep.
And I know right where that is. I've seen that hanging there.
Yeah.
Cheryl, how has these leadership appointments for your students and these interactions, you touched on this briefly a minute ago, but how has Champions Together in the Middle really impacted the students you deal with on a daily basis?
I think about the events that we've done, and I've seen how it's not only affected them, but their families. I've had a couple of families themselves, I've seen moms and dads in tears. I've had parents that their kids can't give the commitment to the Special Olympics because they can't do the weekly practices and stuff like that. So this is a perfect thing for them because they can do what they can do. So they can't do every sport, they can't do every game, but they could do 1 or 2 games. And I had one student that the parents didn't realize that they could play basketball. And he had a sweet spot. We could get him in gym class to one spot in the gym. He never missed the basket. And so I wrote to his mom. I said, I go, he would do great this game. And she's like, he doesn't. I was like, he does.
Yeah.
He plays basketball. I said, can we try this game with him? And she's like, do you think he could do it? And I said, yeah. And we got him there, and he was so excited to get out there. He played. And I had another student that his mom couldn't believe he was playing basketball, just crying in the stands, so excited. Grandparents came, aunts and uncles came and saw them. And so I see how excited they are out there on the field, but then I see the impact on their families, and I will just never get those experiences out of my head. I mean, I see how happy they are. They are out there playing those games, cheering on their other classmates, cheering on their peers and their friends. And I just see how much more excited and how much prouder they are of themselves, that they were out there playing, you know, football. They were out there playing basketball. So
That's beautiful. That's great. That's great. Kim, she touched on some of the events that her students have really shined in. Well, you picked the right tense of that word. You've been at this now for, this is, I think, your 5th year that we're going into. And so when you think back on the last 4 or 5 years, what are some of the events that stand out in your mind that you thought that was so successful? I am so proud that we just did that.
Well, obviously the events that the kids get to participate in. So the actual games, right? We do more with game participation than practices here. And our big one when we started was we ended our year with our conference track meet. So that's all of our kids that were involved got to run in a race or two at the conference meet. And that was great because we had 8 different schools there. I mean, you had thousands of fans in the stands.
Wow.
And that was the end of the year. So that was when we always got to, you know, discuss and promote what Champions was with our community. And we had won the banner or received our banner by then. So that was a great community event to really showcase that. But we've really grown from there, and we're, you know, our kids are playing football, they're playing basketball, they're cheerleading. And like Cheryl said, we all can pick, you know, both of us can pick moments where we're all in tears by the end of it. And we know certain students, you know, that really took that in and it really made a difference. It changed them. But for me, it's really even some of the work that our general ed kids get, our non-athletes get, just from being in our building day in and day out and seeing the work that we do. I got to tell you, those assemblies that you guys come out and do are probably one of the best things I've ever been a part of. And for our student body as well, we have, and you've been here, Craig, enough to know 900 kids, and those assemblies, 45 minutes or so.
Yeah, you pack them in.
We pack them in and you could hear a pin drop. I mean, you have middle school kids who are sitting still for 45 minutes and they are locked in and engaged on you and on our featured speakers and
on your students. I mean, you know, your students are the stars of that show. We turn it over to them, and they're prepared and they're proud and they're articulate and they're ready to go. You know, I mean,
I'm sorry.
No, you do a great job of setting them up to succeed there.
Well, thank you. But every time we get done and get out of one of those assemblies, I mean, kids are coming up to us for weeks, kids that I don't even know, who are just touched and excited about the program. And then, of course, we do more of those activities throughout the year within our home bases and our family time groups and, you know, our campaign to shut down the R word and all kinds of things. But I would definitely say it's the involvement that we get from not only our life skills kids, but our general ed population, our student body here. And, you know, just that excitement that we can build.
Well, not only were you the first to earn the banner as a middle school in the state, you're one of only a handful that's earned the banner that's hanging behind you there, the special 50th anniversary banner that we did a year ago. And the bar was set considerably higher for that than it was to earn the normal Champions Together banner. One of the things you had to do was raise $1,500. Normally the bar is $750, and to get the gold banner, you had to raise $1,500. That's a big ask for a lot of middle schools in Indiana, and you're not a huge middle school by statewide standards.
Right.
How did you accomplish that?
So one of our big fundraisers or ways to get money into our program is we do donations at our gates for Special Olympics. That really helps get the ball and get the pot going. We'll have events throughout the year where we'll do like half court shots during basketball games, and our kids will come down and pay $1 for that. We've had some spirit days and spirit weeks where they can pay to dress up. And again, we work really well with our high school athletic department. So when they put on their track or treat, we're there running games and running, different booths. When they put on their Special Olympics basketball game, we run all of the entertainment. And so
do you get a percentage
Yeah.
of those proceeds too? They share that since you're sharing the work, they share
For
the profit?
Sure. If we have a picture booth, if we do a candy guessing game, if we run the bake sale for that event, we get all of those proceeds and it goes right into our L Club fund specifically for Champions Together.
And does the L Club, do those members, are they excited about being a part of that? I mean, is this something that they enjoy? It's not a burden?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. They are very excited to sign up and to work those events. And sometimes we try very hard as a corporation not to schedule that and double dip anything, on that night, but sometimes it's hard. So there have been times where they're disappointed, like they have a game that night or they have a practice and they're going to come late, and they're very excited about those opportunities.
Well, Cheryl, this is kind of spread beyond the perimeters of just Champions Together in the middle and the requirements. Now there's all kinds of cool things going on at Lowell Middle School that fit under the umbrella, but I'm in an awkward way trying to get to Lunch Buddies. So you all are doing a lot of wonderful things that build relationships, but what are Lunch Buddies? Because this is not a term that I've encountered at other schools. Can you tell me about that initiative and what it is?
Lunch Buddies was when the members of the Junior L Club would partner up with kids from my class, and they would come over and they would go and take them to sit with them at the tables with them. And then they would introduce them to their friends, and they would sit with them and talk with them during lunch.
And was this a monthly thing? Was it how often did this happen?
Just sporadic. They would come over, just hey, let's go have lunch together. So it wouldn't be like every week or whatever. It would just be like spontaneous. So the kids would love it because it would be out of nowhere. So it wasn't like they knew it was going to be today. So it made it even specialer. And sometimes if one of the L Club members would see that someone was having a hard time, especially like if they were one of my peer tutors, and they noticed that they were having a hard time, and they would come over at lunch then and be like, hey, let's go have lunch together. And they would talk with them. And so it was just really special and neat to see.
So have the students changed the building for the adults? Have they started doing some things that all of a sudden you now have other teachers that might not have taken an interest in the students that you work with special needs? Has it changed the culture of the whole building, not just for the students, but for adults as well?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know what it was like before I came, because when I came, that's when the program started. But I think this program changed the whole school.
And how about you, Kim? You've got a little longer view of this since you've been there longer than Cheryl has. How have you seen it impact kind of the culture of the building?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely remember, the time, whether that was, I think it was about a year and a half ago, when our L Club kids would spend a lot of time going down to Cheryl's room. Okay, so they were already there again for that peer tutoring aspect. So they were taking what we were doing in our meetings and trying to implement it there when they were with her life skills students. But then all of a sudden they were taking it back to their home bases and their family times. And I can recall there was definitely a change. Like I would have teachers of these family time periods checking in like, hey, we want to go down and spend some time in the life skills room, or we want to go down and play with them during, their lunchtime when they're in the gym, or can we go outside and do this or that? So, I mean, it's a work in progress. some years are better than others, and we've got to continue to continue the work. But I definitely remember there was a lot of buzz and a lot of hype, and we just had a really good group of kids that year who were go-getters. And when it was Fun Friday, there was a theme for us, and you could go and do something outside for family time or outside of your classroom. I can recall a lot of teachers asking me, how do we get in with Cheryl and her kids?
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Cheryl, do you have a favorite moment or two that you haven't mentioned that when you reflect on your 5 years of doing this at the middle school, where you think, I am so glad I was in the room to see what just happened? That was awesome.
One of my favorite Champions Together moments was when we did a football game that was an away game. And I think it was the second or third year, Kim?
Maybe.
And they got to have the meal with them. They got to ride the bus with them. I mean, they stayed after school. They did the whole shebang. We didn't get back to the middle school until it was a very long day. And I had this young man fall asleep on me on the way back on my shoulder. But I remember as we were sitting on the bench waiting for his mom to come, him looking over, and he just said, Mrs. English, best day ever. And I will never forget that, because he was sweatier than all get out, tired than all get out, but he was smiling that whole time during the meal, during the ride, playing on the sidelines, playing that game, and the whole way back. And then afterwards, I mean, I could tell he was so tired, but he was just like, best day ever. And I will never forget that event.
The power of inclusion. Very good. That's beautiful. That's a great story.
Yeah.
Kim, how about you? Do you have I'm sure you got many of them, but what's one or two that comes to mind right away?
I mean, my favorite right now that comes to mind is a student who is a member in our L Club right now. She's luckily still around in our building. Her name is Avery, and she is a superstar in her own right. She loves to sing, and whenever she can get on the microphone and sing, she is all about it. And Cheryl, she does actual competitions, right?
Yeah.
But last year we had her we had a lot of the students introduced at a football game, and Avery, typically I ask my athletes to sing the national anthem, or we ask kids from our choir or band to play and be a part of that. And Avery is such a superstar with her singing. I thought, let's get her up on that microphone and sing. And we're talking outside at a football stadium with hundreds of people, and she was amazing, and just pretty much brought everybody to tears. I had so many people coming up afterwards to just talk about how they were moved and how special our introduction was. And Avery and Cheryl, you probably could touch on this even more, was so excited. I think we made her night, made her day. I think it made her life that she had an audience and she could sing too. So we brought her back for basketball season, and she got to do it again. And those are the moments that stand out for me.
And at the basketball game, I remember she took that microphone and she said, I got this. So I mean,
I'm on.
Yeah.
Please, you're in my spotlight. If you could just step over there.
That was pretty much how it went.
All right, Cheryl, last question for you, and Kim, this is coming your way in a moment, but Cheryl, as a special ed professional, what advice can you give to other special ed teachers who are tired, they are overworked, they are stressed, and they're not necessarily looking for another thing to do? Thank you very much. What advice would you give them about why they should consider this as one of those things that they might want to do?
Because the reward at the end of this is so worth it to see the smiles and the pure joy on your students' faces is 10,000 times worth the exhaustion that you might be feeling. I mean,
Well
the
said.
experiences I have seen I've experienced with them, I won't ever forget. It is definitely worth this. The work that you might have to put in, the payoff is, you can't put it into words.
Kim, how about you? Legend that you are now, and the one who started this. What advice would you give to other athletic directors and other middle school administrators, about when they're thinking about adding something to their plate?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. We all are operating on borrowed time, right? But I would definitely say to do it. I would say to start small. There's nothing that is too little. Baby steps are fine. I would say you need support. Find those people in your building, and if you're not as lucky as I am to have Cheryl in the life skills class with you, find people in your building that are willing to take on the challenge and help you. Find us. We're a training school right now, so find people who've gone through it, and you can start. No need to reinvent the wheel. We'll give you what we have. But like Cheryl said, there's no bigger reward than what happens at the end of the day. Once you put one small step and you implement that, and you put one small step into place, how it changes our kids, how it changes our culture. And if we do nothing else, we should be working toward making every single student feel valued, feel appreciated, feel accepted. And gosh, that's all you need, right? That's the greatest reward out there.
Well, you two, thank you, first of all, for adding me to your schedule today. And thank you for your leadership through all of this. You mentioned Lee Lonzo several times. He always told me, and continues to, that it's always hard to get someone to go first. And if you can, others will follow because they are hungry for an example. And you have shown people that, yes, it is absolutely doable. And the second thing is, he will say, and you did this, you've illustrated it perfectly, get a bunch of kids and get out of their way.
Yeah.
And you folks are experts there about empowering students and guiding them, but not doing it for them. And because of that, they've done great things, and it's theirs. They own it, and it's changed them as well as the other students in the building. Thank you for your leadership and continuing to be leaders. And there are others that are paying attention, and we're going to share this video with special education teachers and athletic directors all over the state of Indiana. And so you can look forward to a couple thousand phone calls, and I appreciate you returning every one of those in a timely way. Kim Kilmer, Cheryl English, Lowell Middle School, you guys are rock stars, and thank you for being here today, and thanks for being you, and please keep up the good work. We need you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you next time, folks, on Unified Champion Spotlight. Thank you, ladies.